Before we start the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. And now, let's go. Story 1.
Saw Mel sometime last month, but since I'm using this ACC to rant about her and honestly record these mishaps, it only feels right to post this too. We had planned to stop by for her to see LO for 15 minutes because we had plans, but ended up as 40-ish minutes. At the house, there were church people there and boyfriend when a church lady held him, and he said, "Doesn't he look like his mom?" With Mill in earsight, and she, church lady, agreed. And the church grandma, Mill's best friend from church, from the wedding in February. When Mill asked if he looked only like BF, was there too. I think none of them, the church ladies, anyone on her side, have said anything which Mill would use to plaster a narrative because she would totally use it and run with it, but she hasn't ever brought them up to legitimize her claims that the baby is all her side of the family. Only her nail techs who she pays agree with her, that LO is identical to BF, which I feel like goes to show that the church ladies and people around her think he looks like me or a mix of us and doesn't give her the validation she wants. Mill loves to brag. She would name drop them or anyone else if she could, but she hasn't, and I feel like that says a lot. I feel like because everyone else, including her own family, extended family, strangers acknowledges my features of my son, she harps on the little bits she can, for example, his hands and feet, or stupid like trying to distinguish eye color when both me and BF have dark brown eyes. She only fully claims baby's features in private, but not in public with other neutral people around, especially if they are unbiased and acknowledges the resemblance. During the visit, she didn't ignore me as his mom. While holding him, she did say, "There's mommy," and acknowledge my presence. I honestly think it's because we were surrounded by her church people and my son is older, more aware, and reaching for me while she held him. But it couldn't be just that with her. She cornered me again. She's completely incapable of acknowledging my role as a mom without conditions or competition. When we were in a separate room with only boyfriend and my brother, both of whose were too busy to notice the interaction. Here's the interaction. Side note, burrito feet are what BF and his family refer to their feet because their feet are chunky and wide. Mill, do you think baby has burrito feet? Me what? Mill touches his feet, Mill. You know, burrito feet like MY feet. I shrug me. Ache, maybe? She took off her shoes to show me her feet to compare, or I'll make a statement, Ick Mill. Yeah, because Sil said he has our feet, so he does. I watch her do that, stared at the ground at her now shoeless foot, and then I disengaged and stopped responding and stayed silent as she put her shoe back on. It was so incredibly awkward and leaves such a nasty taste in my mouth because of her past and current actions in regard to me and my baby. It gives that jealous friend who never actually has anything nice to say about you, but are always around. They can't handle when you get more attention or compliments, so they try to even the score in some way by saying something backhanded or fish for validation. I don't know why you're getting so much attention. I'm pretty too, right? Except unlike a friend, she feels entitled to my child's identity, features, and origin, and is threatened that I'm the primary source to all that. I'm his mom. It's like she notices I'm getting all these comments from others reinforcing that I'm his mom. And as my son grows, it's undeniable my impact that go against the narrative she's been trying to push since LO has been born, and I'm getting more confident and secure in my role/resemblance with my son that she has to insert herself and do these underhanded attempts such as that. There's so many more things she's done to erase me because she doesn't want me to believe my own son resembles me. That my side is important too, that my heritage and culture will be prominent and an influence in his life. I think it's weird that she has such a hard time struggling to even acknowledge my son looks like me. She's never mentioned one feature. I get it if we may have beef, so she doesn't want to give me the satisfaction, but even in private text between her and her children when Sil says baby looks like me, Mill had to say no. Her nail texts say he looks identical to his dad. It's weird that she struggles to even admit it private or even allow other people in her inner circle to make that observation. That's why I didn't want to entertain her shenanigans, because obviously that moment when her narrative isn't pushed, Sil's opinion didn't matter, but when it benefits her narrative, she uses Sil's opinion to try and legitimize. It seems like when she can't fully try to claim LO to being more like her side, in public she reaches for subjective things like feet. But to me, once she gets me alone, she tries to pressure me to agree. I also think it's weird that only in private, for example, with Sil and BF, she brings up that baby and BF are identical. She used to fish for that confirmation with other people publicly, but they disagree with her. So how she only brings up her nail techs. She doesn't just stick to subjectives when she's with her inner circle. But in public, like during the visit, she CULDV brought up her nail techs when Church Lady agreed that my LO looks like me like she did in private to rebuttal. It fell through then too, but she didn't and resorted her desperate attempts at claiming something subjective again. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she picks and chooses what games to play. And yet she doesn't want to acknowledge my son looks like me in any way, but wants to pull me into confirming her narrative. Like why? Because I know you don't like me, and I don't like you. If you really believed he has your feet, and Sil says so, then that should be enough. Why do you want me to validate it so much? You ask me almost every time I see you, always a comparison game, and I'm so incredibly sick of it. I notice her actively trying to erase me from my own son. So why would I co-sign a reality of hers in which my side of the family, heritage, features don't exist? When you every chance you get, diminish my role, culture, presence, and identity in my child's life. I regret being silent, but I was shocked at the desperation as a grown woman taking off your shoes to compare your grown ASS woman feet to a 7-month baby's foot is just pathetic. I know she just wishes the baby was more like them than he is like me, which is why she stays completely silent whenever someone says he looks just like me, but jumps at every opportunity to say he looks like her or her side of the family or dismiss me. It was a short visit, and I thought, wow, finally one visit, the first one where she isn't doing some inappropriate completion. But I was so fucking wrong. Her attempts at trying to claim him and his identity are slowly but surely getting more obvious and desperate. Because what in your right mind thought that was a great way to prove your point? You look crazy. Like lady, you're in your 50s with 2 full-grown children who do look like you. You've had your moment. Why is that not enough? You're weird for trying to stake claim over a child's identity, who isn't even yours. You're low for trying to actively erase half of who he is, and stupid for thinking no one notices, in the same breath of pretending to be the proud, loving grandma. It's so fucking intrusive. This is just one of many of my issues with her. She continuously attempts to corner me into participating in one-sided transaction in which she expects me to empower her, but I should allow her to erase and dismiss me. She's absolutely unhinged. I wish I would have called out her cherry-picking legitimacy by being up Sil's opinion of their feet, when one of her other opinions is that he's undeniably resembles me, which Mill can't stand and try to disprove. Why can't you be happy with who he is, not what or who he looks like? Like he could look more like me right now, and later in life, he may look more like his dad. But it's always a competition with her. It's annoying because I'm his mother, and this lady has severe issues not being the center of things. I wish it would be enough that he's both of his parents. Still her grandson, no matter who he looked like. It doesn't even feel like she's operating from a point of love when she does what she does, but from control. If anything, that her own opinion should be enough. But she seems to drag other people, and especially me, into her obvious insecurities and wanting me to validate and reassure her, all the while disrespecting me. My son is his own person, a mixture of both parents, a mix of different cultures. He's special. He's not some novelty for her to claim is hers and only her family.
Story 2.
We're going full NC, and Mael is attacking our child before they're even born. We're done. Asterisk, my husband and I are officially done with his family. We're going full no contact, and I'm here to ask, are we overreacting, or is this exactly what needs to happen? For context, I can't have biological children due to severe endometriosis. I had a hysterectomy at 21 after multiple failed surgeries and life-threatening symptoms. Maya Mael was supportive at first until she realized it meant no biological grandchildren. She broke down to my then fiancé, now husband, saying, asterisk, do you even know what this means for you? Asterisk, as if I was suddenly damaged goods. My husband has always known I was infertile and was completely on board with whatever I needed for my health. That hysterectomy didn't change a thing for us, but it did change Mael's entire attitude toward me. After that, she became cruel. She told extended family members extremely personal and graphic medical details about my reproductive system. I had uncles asking me invasive questions about my uterus and surgeries. I was in my early 20s and completely mortified. I asked her to stop. She refused. She still does this. When I found out I was eligible for surrogacy, I cautiously told Amiel, with very clear instructions not to tell anyone, as I was unsure I even wanted to pursue it due to how hard the process is on my body. Within minutes, I was being flooded with texts from family members congratulating me and pushing me to do it. Amiel claimed she had the right to share the good news. The pressure was instant and overwhelming. At our wedding, Amiel was openly cruel. She texted my mom that no one from their family would be coming to my bridal shower, gossiped about me to anyone who would listen, sent videos joking about me falling into the pool at our wedding venue, and told my husband to put his brother's feelings over mine when I didn't want BIL's girlfriend, who had bullied me for years, on my shower or bachelorette trip. She even canceled the rehearsal dinner she had offered to host and told me I didn't deserve one. BIL texted my husband 2 days before the wedding saying he should rethink things and accused me of being a feminist like it was a slur. It was nonstop emotional sabotage. Later, during surrogacy, my ovary ruptured during egg retrieval, and I ended up in full menopause at 24. We used an egg donor, and Miles still doesn't know this, and had a successful pregnancy with a surrogate. Instead of respecting any boundaries, Amiel asked to attend ultrasound appointments and see her grandbaby in utero. She wanted to thank our surrogate for making her a grandma and pushed for more involvement than she ever earned. We declined, and the boundary stomping never stopped. She showed up uninvited at major moments and offered no real support, just attention-seeking behavior. Then we miscarried. Amiel and BIL made it all about themselves. BIL tried to force my grieving husband to leave me to hang out because he was a bad brother. Amiel complained that she felt awkward at a wedding because she couldn't tell people we had lost a baby a week after it happened. After that loss, we returned to our original plan, adoption. I'm Hispanic, bilingual, and deeply connected to my culture. Several of my family members are adopted, and adoption has always felt like the right path for us. We matched quickly with a wonderful Hispanic expectant mom and dad. The baby will be born with NAS due to prenatal drug exposure, which we're fully prepared for. We've taken classes and have strong support from my parents, who live a mile away. Amiel and GMIL immediately opposed the match and began pressuring us to back out. They've made incredibly racist and offensive comments about our baby having bad genes, issues, and not looking like us. They completely ignore that I'm Hispanic because they've never made any effort to know my side of the family. They don't speak to my parents or anyone in my family due to how they've treated me over the years. My husband and I are the ones who visit Mexico, celebrate traditional holidays, and stay involved in our community. They know nothing about that side of our lives, but still feel entitled to judge. Then came a Mother's Day text. GMIL, who had signed a letter of recommendation for our home study, texted to say she was embarrassed she signed it, that we shouldn't tell anyone she endorsed our adoption, and that she wishes we had gone through a program with stricter parameters to avoid getting a child with issues and bad genes, and added that we should listen to our elders, aka her, because the Bible says so. At that point, I responded directly. I told them their comments were cruel, unacceptable, and a direct attack not only on our child, but on my family and culture. I said our child is already loved, already worthy, and we are fully committed as parents no matter what. We would never abandon our child. There is no disruption potential with this adoption as CPS is involved as they took custody of her previous children and both birth parents' families do not want to do a kinship adoption. If we didn't adopt, they would go into foster care. We love the child unconditionally and have immense respect for our expectant mom. They ignored everything I said and continued doubling down. Now, they're planning to fly out and visit immediately after we bring our baby home. They haven't supported us emotionally, practically, or financially. They've only criticized and insulted us. They refuse to accept our child, but want to play grandma for appearances. We are not allowing it. We've decided that they will never meet our child. No visits, no updates, no photos. We recently moved, and will not be giving them our new address. My husband is fully on board. In fact, he was the one who said, asterisk, this ends now. They don't get to be part of our child's life. Asterisk, they've crossed every boundary, disrespected me for years, and now they're attacking an innocent child before they're even born. We're not waiting for more damage to happen. We're done. So, are we overreacting by going full NC and keeping our child completely out of their lives? Or are we finally doing what's necessary to break the cycle and protect our family? Asterisk, asterisk, if you've been through anything similar, I'd love to hear how you handled it.
Story 3.
Both MIL and FIL have been super enmeshed with my husband, 28M, and trying to be enmeshed with our marriage throughout our entire relationship. But recently, I have hit a boiling point. I have been repeatedly having to set boundaries for them to be disrespected over and over. The post is long, so I appreciate those who bear with me. A few need-to-knows. Asterisk, husband and I, 30F, got together in 2016 and got married in 2017, but have known each other since 2013. Asterisk, since we have been together, every holiday, his parents reach out to us asking us to cancel or modify our plans if it isn't what they want us to do. Asterisk, when my husband's grandparents had our wedding in their backyard, and Mile tried to take me out to lunch without my husband and convince me not to go through with it. They also sent horrible emails to the grandparents and the pastor who married us. Asterisk, my husband and I have been having issues and have been living separately for the last year. Husband lives with his parents. We all live there until I move the kids and I out. Asterisk, part of these issues include FIL smacking our son 3 years of the time, and Mile being witness to it, and them both lying about it. They also threatened me with eviction twice when I raised concerns about abuse, disrespect of our boundaries as parents. Asterisk, in-laws have not reached out to me over the last year, asking about me or my kids. They just sent a request to do lunch every 2 months or so, and then the holiday stunt they always pull, including asking me to not take my kids trick or treating on Halloween, so they could sit with MIL, who hurt her back, not life-threatening. Asterisk, we're working on reconciliation, but my in-laws keep getting involved. Below are 2 separate conversations I have had with my FIL in the last week. Looking for advice on how to proceed. Husband now says he is okay with parents being with kids unsupervised, but I am not. I keep setting boundaries. I don't know what else to do. I am sure I am missing something, so feel free to ask questions. Conversation 1. Came on Wednesday before Mother's Day FIL. It's Mother's Day this Sunday, Red Heart. Would you all be free for breakfast or lunch with Mom and I? Me. Hey there. The kids and I have a pretty stacked itinerary on Sunday. Unfortunately, we won't be available. Thanks for the invitation, though. Smiling face with smiling eyes, FIL. Okay, but we'd like to see you all for Mother's Day. Can't you fit us in? I just want Mile to feel like she's part of yours and the kids' world. Especially since she's your mother-in-law, don't forget slightly smiling face me. Respectfully, FIL, she has had several years where Mother's Day has revolved around her. Even my first Mother's Day, which was very special to me, I rearranged my day to fit her in. Both of my mothers will not be seen on Mother's Day this year, and they are flexible and understanding of that. We seem to keep running into this pattern where we are constantly asked to forfeit or change our plans to accommodate you and MIL on every single holiday. This has been going on since DH and I got together, and it has been creating contention and frustration amongst everyone. Over Thanksgiving, when we didn't come over for Thanksgiving dinner, and Miles sent DH a text saying that it was a slap in the face. You sent me a separate thread. I remember very clearly explaining that these separate offside conversations come off as mega guilt trips and only create further frustration between us all. DH and I have started our own family with wonderful children. As a Christian, I'm sure you read in the Bible where it says that once a man creates his own family, that is his family, and his parents are an extension of that family. Genesis 2, verse 24, that doesn't mean that they don't deserve time together, but it doesn't mean that it has to be on the specific holiday. My parents got divorced when I was 9 years old, and I had to learn very early on in my life how to be flexible with varying schedules, etc. My parents have forfeited several holidays and been very flexible with the DH's side of the family when it has come to holidays over the years. My mom has specifically been super conscientious about not trying to ruffle any feathers or cause upset. I understand that you and MIL have been married and haven't had to deal with the challenges of blended family. I understand that that flexibility may be more a challenge because you haven't had to adapt to it. Sometimes that means that we don't all get together on the actual holiday, but rather a day that works for everyone. It doesn't take away the significance of the holiday or the people being celebrated during it. I say all of this with lots of love. Emile deserves recognition as a mother, and I'd even like to suggest that in September, when it is Grandparents' Day, we take her out for a special lunch. As far as Mother's Day goes, we are not able to accommodate plans on Sunday, but would be happy to get together at another time that works with everyone's schedules. FIL, great points. Would Saturday work? I didn't mean to sound flip. I was cooking. Thank you for the detailed response. There are good points here. We of course will see some things differently. We know you and DH are working to make your marriage whole, and we want to be a part of that. We have not gotten together very much at all in the last year, and we want to. Please think about us and try to work us in when you can. We would love to see you all this weekend. We are free after 10 a.m. Saturday. Conversation 2. Today, FIL. Hey, OP, and Mile and I would love to have the kids over to spend the night sometime. Not dependent on DH, in case you two wanted to go out or something. Can we make a date? Me, hey there. The kids are not doing sleepovers at places without us right now, but if that changes, I'll you know. FIL. Oh, okay. I guess we can talk about that another time. If DH is free this Friday, can we make a date to have them over? Me. We already have plans as a family this weekend. Thanks for the offer. FIL. No biggie. Can we get something on the calendar, maybe the next Friday or Saturday night? I know you, and I love calendars smiling face with smiling eyes me. We're pretty stacked the next few weekends with birthday parties. The kids are super popular, as I'm sure you can imagine. DH and I keep in touch with each other about schedules, etc. FIL, wow, busy. I don't mind putting a date out a bit. How about something past the birthdays? Me, I understand that you would like to get something on the calendar, but DH and I need to discuss the schedule. FIL, it sounds like maybe you don't want them to come over to our place. Is that the case? If so, why not? FIL, second text, I hope not. If there are no issues, we'd really like to see them at least a few times a month. They don't have to spend the night. Having them over for an occasional Saturday or Sunday would be nice. We miss them, of course. Me, I want to be direct about a few things that need to be addressed. In February of 2024, you smacked Son in the face. Not only did you and Emile tell me that day that you didn't know why Son was hiding downstairs, but later, DH discussed this incident with both of you, confirming that it did happen. Neither you nor Emile has attempted to repair this breach of trust and absolutely unacceptable behavior. At this time, and since then, DH and I have discussed that the children cannot be left alone with you. It is never okay for you to physically discipline our children. I know this is not unknown, as we had discussed it several times, even at the expense of what you describe as playful threats that you'd throw the kids across the room if they didn't settle down. Our children have active social lives with commitments and activities that fill their calendars. Despite my clear communication that DH and I would be discussing future availability, you've continued to press the issue repeatedly, which feels like harassment. It seemed as though you were attempting to make plans on DH's behalf. This approach isn't helpful. I appreciate that you want to spend time with the kids, but being a grandparent is a privilege, not an entitlement. The children will not be made available simply upon request. Their well-being and routine come first. Regarding your comment about helping make our marriage whole, sent last week, if that's truly your concern, the most supportive thing you could do is respect the boundaries that I've repeatedly set. When we say no, or not that specific day, that needs to be respected without continued pressure. We will not be bullied into modifying the kid's schedule at your beck and call. I'm open to rebuilding a healthy relationship moving forward, but that requires mutual respect for my role as their parent and our family's boundaries. It also requires accountability for what was done to Son by you, and the betrayal of trust by you and Emile in lying to me about that incident.
Story 4.
So I promised to update if I had one. And a lot has happened over the past week. So this is going to be a very long post. I will make side notes too. So sorry in advance. Here is the original post. https://www.reddit.com/r/justnomil/s/jd7b1mkvy for the update. After my mom and I had our talk, I did not want to talk to her and have been distant. My brother relayed everything I said to him to her. She texted me Thursday. Her text, "Son, I really don't want to leave town with us, so at odds. I know you are hurt and wounded, and your dad and I are hurt and wounded. This is how families split up, and I don't want that to our family. I apologize for any misunderstanding over my comment about the blueberry. I really am not stupid. That would be the last thing I would truly do. There is not intention whatsoever behind that comment for it to be hurtful or serious. I'm sure I could have said it differently, but I never dreamed in a million years that anyone would think I was serious. Regarding your brother's dog, I do give her something extra sometimes, but always checking before to be certain that it is something she can have and is not one that do not eat for dogs. However, I purchase out of my own pocket a high standard and quality food, both dry and wet. It can't be purchased in any store. I do give her carrots, and we do have doggy treats. I am in no way abusing her. Many people only feed their dog people food and cook for them food that is much more healthy than what actually goes into most dog food. I am guilty of sending you vaccine information even when you didn't want it. You promised me early on that if I only sent it to you, that I would read and listen. I don't believe that you ever did, and that is fine. I was as frustrated as you not being open to reading or listening as you were to me sending it. It is your life and your journey. You accused me of being disrespectful, and I felt disrespected that you refused to read or at least listen even though you said you did. I will honor your decisions, but we have to agree to disagree on the issue. I have been every bit as frustrated as you have been. No, we are not vaccinated as many are not. Anytime you walk in a public place, there are unvaccinated people. When people stop to look at your sweet daughter and talk to her, they may be unvaccinated. The people who sit beside you at church may be unvaccinated. And we are too. Again, we have to agree to disagree. You feel disrespected, and so do we. It's the only way to move forward. So I'm guilty on all your accusations. Even though in your eyes I'm not trustworthy, and I am disrespectful and unworthy, I still would very much like us to be a family. Even if you don't believe us, we do love and care for you, your wife and daughter. We all say hurtful things. Sometimes we are angry and hurting. I apologize for offending you. This is our first grandchild. We want to be able to spend time with our granddaughter when your dad and I can play with her or read to her or have some time that we get to focus just on her. Maybe at some point we can earn your trust to be able to get to do that. For now, can we just be family and work to love and support each other? Love, Mom, I reply. I appreciate the apology. Early on I did read the article, but by the time I asked you to stop, I had already made up my mind. I agree we should not bring up certain topics, as we will not agree and should agree to disagree. I was hurt by our conversation Tuesday, especially how it ended. I don't appreciate how my brother reacted. I'm disappointed and saddened that he used the fact we rent for you guys as a way to make me feel bad. He also uninvited us to his wife's birthday celebration. I feel the relationship has lost all trust. We are family, but there's some wounds that need to heal. I think we need some time. This week has been a lot. I want to spend the rest of the week and weekend making my wife's first Mother's Day a great one. Side note, I did. My wife said it was better than she ever could hope for. I hope you guys have a great weekend and you have a good Mother's Day. Her reply, I understand. I was also hurt by our conversation on Tuesday. Your brother expressed to me that he wanted to make his wife's birthday party perfect for her, as you want to make your wife's first Mother's Day. He was very fearful that if we were at odds that things would be strained and it would diminish her joy. It is not that he uninvited you. He just didn't want it to be strained in any way if we weren't functioning as a family. He wants it to be a very special day for her. If the energy is off, it affects the mood and atmosphere. Your father and his wife love your daughter as we do. They want to be a great aunt and uncle to her. They have also been hurt because they haven't had a lot of time with her since she has been here. This part is a lie, as they have seen her more than my wife's sister and had an open door to visit her if they wanted to see her and have been invited over several times for dinner. I don't understand the part about the rent. Your rent's from us too. His rent is actually a little lower than yours because we have less dollar in his place than yours to replace to our retirement money. I think his point is that from the very beginning of your daughter's life, we have felt like we are on the outside looking in when we really wanted to be included. I can't speak for your brother and his wife, but I think we all have felt more tolerated and like an obligation more than included in her life. As an example, 2 times early on your daughter came here, and the only thing we could see was the top of her head. She was an extension of your wife and not in the room with us. She had been fussy, and we had just gotten her to sleep just before family dinner. That was very disappointing, as we were very excited to get to see her. Your dad and I have tried to help both of you boys. We have done that because we wanted to. I think your brother's point is that he didn't think it was fair for us to not be able to be a part of her life, and you didn't trust your dad and I to keep her at all ever. I even encouraged you in March to take your wife out to dinner, and let us keep your daughter. You had said that not just yet, but maybe in April. I was just wanting some time with her. I know you have been hurt, but we have too. I have cried and had more sleepless nights over this. Hopefully this is just a family growing pain, and we can get through this. It has been a very difficult week for all, as the underlying energy has come to a head. That is how things that have been festering for long, while as this has have to get out in the open and work through, so we can all begin again with new insights and perspectives. I hope your wife has a great Mother's Day. You are such a great husband and dad. I always knew you would be when you found the right person. Both of you boys go to great lengths and efforts to celebrate and appreciate your wives, and for that I am proud. I love you. This morning I ran into my dad at the gas station. He acted like nothing had happened. It was awkward, but overall a good conversation. Then she texted me at work this, "Good morning. I wonder if I agree to just listen, if you would be willing to make a list and tell me all the things you're angry at me for." Your aunt pointed out that all of this seems to be deep-seated anger coming out, and I tend to agree with her. It is weighing hard on my mental and physical health for us to be at odds this way. I'm sure it is for you as well. It is just not healthy for either of us, and it is certainly not healthy for our family. I would like to listen to what you want to say. I have obviously offended you greatly for a long time. It was certainly not intentional, and I don't want to keep repeating by being unaware. I would love to try to come to a resolve in hopes of being a family again. I want us both to feel love and not just tolerated. My reply: good morning. Yes, I'll make a list, but we'll take some time. I'll let you know when I've finished it and send it to you. Hers: I would like for us to sit down with it. Her second text: are y'all coming to your sister-in-law's party on Saturday? My reply: okay. And no, my brother made it clear he didn't want us there. Her reply: your brother made it clear that he did not want anything to take away from his wife's day if we were still at odds. She wants y'all to be there and is expecting you. I told both her and your brother that I thought it would be okay as we were trying to work through things. If you think not, I can celebrate her birthday on Friday, so I won't be a subject to contend with for y'all. Not showing up for her birthday is another falling away for our family. Your brother only wants joy and no friction, which is what has been with us. Surely you understand where he is coming from. You would only want the same for your wife. My reply: no, you don't need to do that. It's not you why we are not going. My brother is one why we are not going. He may have meant it that way, but I was not said that way. He caused that damage. He could have said his piece without doing that, but he didn't. We would have acted like nothing was wrong, as we wouldn't want to take away from her. And he knows we would have, but he decided to uninvite us. I'm at work and need to finish this project. Her reply: respond when you can. I didn't intend to disrupt your work. Your brother shared with me what he sent to you. Maybe there is something else that was said that I don't know. However, if this is what you are thinking is an uninvite, please reread it from your brother's perspective of wanting his wife's day to be perfect and not disrupted from our differences. If you don't feel able to be respectful toward mom, dad, my wife, and me during my wife's birthday celebration, then maybe it's best that you don't come. I say that not out of anger, but because I want to preserve peace and avoid more hurt on a day that's meant to be joyful. We're family. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have to show each other respect, especially when it comes to the relationships that matter most. I hope, truly, that one day we can work through this and all be a part of your daughter's life together. So that's it for now. I signed up for therapy today and saw my psychiatrist yesterday. He agrees that my mom is out of line. Anywho, if there's an update, I'll update you guys. Thank you for all the kind words and support. It has mean a lot.
Story 5.
TLTR, DH finally grew a spine, and MIL is shocked that he's following through. I'm on a mobile. This is a throwaway because I'm sure my SIL knows my main. I'm also well aware that compared to some of these posts, I've had it pretty easy. I41F and DH47M and been together 20 years and married for 15. We have 2 kids, 12 girl and 10 boy. His golden child brother 48M is married to Sil 30. They have 2 boys 10 and 8. She's always favored BIL, and once he got married and had kids, she's transferred that special treatment to them as well. DH has been deep in the fog and just wants everyone to get along. I went LC with her years ago. I don't think she ever noticed. That's how little she thinks of me. I see her at Christmas and her birthday. We do not text or talk on the phone. DH is her point of contact for our family, and for the most part, he does a good job with that. Some examples. Gave BIL a little over $50K to help them get started when he got his then-girlfriend pregnant. They spent most of it on their wedding and then had to stay with MIL until they got her credit straightened out so they could buy a house. About a year later, we were having a tough time and asked if we could borrow a couple of hundred from her short-term. She was so sorry, but she just didn't have any spare money. Spends at least $10 on their family for every $1 on us. Don't be greedy and materialistic. DH says when I try to point it out. Whatever. Spends more time with their kids. She always has time for their games, concerts, or programs. She's never too busy to babysit. We do not get the same treatment. She shows up for us and our kids just enough to not get called out on it. DH always has an excuse to defend her. Now, to the incident. This happened in February of this year. Our son was spending the night at her house with his cousins. My oldest nephew wanted Taco Bell. She told my son she didn't have enough money to buy him any, so she was taking him home. He asked if she would call me to see if I had money. He offered to eat a PB&J while his cousins got takeout. This really broke my heart. She told him no to every compromise he came up with. By the time they got to my house, he was in tears. She was pissed at him, and my nephews thought the whole thing was very funny. My nephews are not stupid, and they know what's up. They know all they have to do is ask, and Grandma will do whatever. They know that they spend more time at her house than my kids do. I don't think my kids are ever there unless their cousins are too. I don't think my nephews were trying to be vindictive and get my son sent home, but they are 10 and 8 and are going to take what they can get. I got my son calmed down, and my daughter, bless her, went out of her way to cheer up her brother. I took us all to Burger King because that's his favorite. He loves the Crowns. DH had been gone all day helping out a friend. He knew our son was supposed to be with his mom and was surprised to see him at home. We told him what happened. He immediately called his mom to get her side. He made it clear that he believed our son. He just wanted to hear what she had to say. I think he was hoping that there was some misunderstanding. There wasn't. She admitted it. She said she didn't want to bother us, so she didn't ask for any money. She didn't think it would be fair to make my son eat PB&J while his cousins had Taco Bell. He asked if it ever occurred to her to tell the kid no. I really don't think it did. He told her he was very disappointed in her, and we would be going VLC. I don't think she took it seriously. She's pissed me or DH off many times in the past, but he always caves after a few weeks because it's his mommy. He promised me this time would be different. He reached out to his brother and told him. My BAL's attitude was, so, what do you want me to do about it? He told his brother what he told his mom, and we went VLC with them as well. DH did a spectacular job. He never reached out to his mom or brother, and I know that was hard for him. He also gray rocked like a pro. Keeping busy and we're all fine was the only thing he responded with if they did reach out. I don't think either one of them really noticed. A week before Easter, she called DH and asked what her plans were. We usual to my aunt's for dinner, and then he drops me off at home, and he takes the kids to see her for a few hours. She asked what time they'd be there. He said they weren't coming. She told him he was ridiculous and hung up. Then Mother's Day rolls around. He sent her a text because he said he couldn't ignore her completely. I had a wonderful day. My little family told me it was my yes day and we could do whatever I wanted. It was super low-key and just a great day. Monday, MIL called DH crying and said she was sorry. He asked what for, and she didn't know. He reminded her of the incident and told her doesn't believe she's sorry she did it. She's just sorry there are consequences to her actions. He went on to say that the fact that she hasn't seen our daughter since Christmas or our son since February and has not asked to see them is disturbing to him. BIL and SIL finally reached out when they realized how serious DH was. We invite them every year to my family's Memorial Day weekend at a nice lake. There will be no invitation this year. My nephews are upset because they haven't seen my son since then. The three of them usually get along quite well, and I'm not trying to be a jerk to kids, but we need a timeout from all of them. DH has been very apologetic. He feels terrible that he didn't notice before how bad it was. I think we're about to have the best summer of our lives. I'm trying to get everybody to concentrate on who we do have in our corner, and let's not worry about who's not.
Story 6.
Hello, everyone. Just a preface, I am new to this page, but just needed somewhere to vent after the roller coaster of crap that's happened over the past few months. Sorry for any grammatical errors. To start, I, 21F, am engaged to D, 24M, to be married at the end of May. We got engaged on Valentine's Day this year. We have been together for about 2.5 years at this point, and both agree it felt as if we had found an old friend when we met on our first date. We decided to elope after my fiancé's family, mother and sister, started causing unnecessary stress and issues during the first few months of wedding planning. Growing up, I always envisioned my wedding dress and venue, but after becoming an adult and moving in with my fiancé 2 years ago, the idea to just elope became more favorable. I am trying to save for school and have already had to put it off twice for unexpected financial difficulties. However, my fiancé has always wanted a wedding and wanted to see me walk down the aisle in a white dress. The idea grew on me, and I took on the responsibility to plan the wedding and did lots of research to find cheap and creative ways to fit the theme I had in mind. Earth tones with bohemian and whimsical decor. My fiancé's sister, I'll refer to her as SGL, is a certified wedding planner, so I thought could use her for support and guidance for things I knew little about. I'd already had fairly good planning skills thanks to my mother, so I wasn't completely clueless. I just needed some help here or there. And my fiancé's mother, I'll refer to her as Amael, was going to let us use her small backyard as a venue for our ceremony and reception. I was very grateful for their willingness to help, although I had a bad feeling about involving family so deeply into wedding planning like this. Don't mix work and family is very true for good reason. MIL and SGL are very opinionated and feel that everyone is entitled to their opinions and comments. Once, when my fiancé and I were only together less than 3 months, they cornered us in his room to lecture him and I, mostly me, about getting my shit together, when we were fiddling with the idea of eventually moving in together since my fiancé was moving 8 hours away at that time. And Mile was belittling me, then 18, that I needed to get my shit together and be an adult. She was tipsy or drunk BTW. My fiancé did stand up for me and told them that coming at us that way was not okay and to not talk to me that way. Since then, I have received lots of little jabs from Amael, trying to make me feel that she knows better or that something I've done isn't good enough. I have heard a lot of comments from her disrespecting other people, like my fiancé's stepmother, calling her a "see you next Tuesday," so her just being blatantly disrespectful is typical. During my wedding planning, I had to repeat myself constantly to both of them on my vision for the wedding. They kept trying to push me on things like a professional wedding album that's $500 when this was supposed to be low budget. Our guest list, which to remind you is in a standard suburban backyard, which could comfortably fit maybe 30 people max, and MIL wanted to invite 8 people only she knows well, my color scheme, and MIL making a rude comment saying I wasn't being creative enough when I decided to buy gold candlesticks that fit my vision perfectly instead of DIYing my own. An important note is that I made several inspiration collages that included color palettes and plenty of decor ideas. I made 3 Google documents, them being wedding dresses/accessories, overall decor and color palette, and one with matron of honor dress and other random things. And one spreadsheet with the costs of everything according to my research and or quotes from vendors with links to said items. And an additional Pinterest board, including everything my Google Docs had at the request of MIL. But apparently me sharing absolutely everything with them wasn't good enough. They kept saying I was being standoffish and not letting them in on my vision. Like, what more could I do? I'm 1 month into planning and have shared everything you have requested. And SIL had even offered to officiate for us, which I thought was a nice gesture for her to be included more, Yet I was being standoffish and not letting them help me apparently. After telling me I wasn't being creative being standoffish, I told them they were definitely reading the situation totally wrong, as I have shared everything with them and had gone to both of their houses individually to talk details. After Amiel kept making comments about my lack of creativity, my fiancé told her to back off essentially, and she did for a time. SIL had still been involved, causing me frequent stress. Since she had lots of decor from her wedding a few years prior, I informed her of things I was purchasing on Facebook Marketplace to see if she already had something similar. I found a great deal on LED candles and let her know via text. She responded saying everything sounded great. But the next day, when I sent a picture of said candles after returning home, she said I should have reached out because she had lots of those from her wedding. After reminding her I did in fact reach out, she said that she basically didn't read the text. Seriously? Why are you helping me plan if you don't read the messages about the wedding? Frustrating. Sometime later, she asked me if I was open to changing the bridesmaids' dress colors that I had very specifically picked and listed in my spreadsheet to a different color since she looks better in darker colors. I was frustrated but said fine because I was working and already too stressed. Yes, I know I should have said no. The big thing that eventually blew everything up was when Amiel and SL went to the fabric store to pick out fabric for my wedding without me. I wanted drapery hanging from the patio beams, so I had planned at some point to get fabric for that, and of course keeping my color scheme. But one day when I went on my break at work, I opened my phone to find that SIL had texted me a picture telling me she and Amiel were at the store buying fabric for my wedding without informing me beforehand and asking what I wanted, and what they picked was not in my color palette. As stated before, I wanted earth tones, and to go further in detail, no white. I didn't want any white in the decor. I thought it would be beautiful to have my dress be the only white making it stand out. I had some tan colors picked out, but wanted to keep it minimal. The fabric they had picked was a bright white, and the kicker was it's non-refundable. Thank God, I went on my break a few minutes after they sent it. I kept asking SIL to see if they had a fabric in my color. She kept insisting that white would look better and that I cannot have colored drapes and tablecloths because it would look bad. I kept telling her that's what I wanted. She ended by saying we should just all come together so I can see the fabric and once again so they can see my vision. I was upset. Why did they go without asking what I was looking for? Did they not look at my colors before trying to buy decor? Why couldn't they wait to go with me in the first place? My fiancé later that night texted them in a firm way, saying that we were frustrated with the options and trying to shop without consulting us, and basically that we want to plan our wedding the way we want. They blew up. Estelle the next day sent me multiple paragraphs saying she had to walk on eggshells around me, and that she was only making helpful suggestions. I can understand making suggestions, but when I keep having to say no, that's no longer suggesting, that's pushing. And especially telling me my ideas would look bad. And Mael kept texting us throughout the day, asking when we'd be home. When my fiancée eventually responded, she started driving to our apartment and insisted on coming over to set the record straight. We didn't want another situation to happen like it did a few months into our relationship, where she cornered us like I mentioned before. My fiancé stood his ground and said, "No, we don't want people over right now, but we can call." She kept insisting, and he called her as she was driving over, reiterating what he said in text. She was yelling at this point, saying, "I have a key, remember?" My fiancé told her if she tried to force her way in, then we would call the police. I am on the fence about his response on this, but I do understand that she was getting irate, screaming, and was even mocking me, asking if I was crying in the corner because his mommy was coming over. After threatening police, she called him AF and told him, "You can keep that little b **ch, me." I was stunned. He said okay and hung up. His sister eventually called, and he yelled at her that no one will speak to my wife that way. She was trying to minimize all their previous behavior and say all this happened over fabric. No, the fabric was just the final straw of pushing ideas and not taking no for an answer. He told his sister we wouldn't speak to his mother until she apologized to us both. I appreciated how he had my back 100%. As time passed, Amiel and SL coerced my fiancé to go to Amiel's house, where they bombarded him, basically saying he was in the wrong and they had done nothing. and that Emile had nothing to apologize for, and since she didn't call me AB directly, it wasn't her problem, I heard. He left in the middle of the conversation. Where I have a problem is that I feel like my fiancé is now giving up. He just wants everything to be over with and thinks just because it's been several months, everything is fine. His family gave him half-assed apologies, but haven't talked to me. I have heard through him things his sister is still saying, like I don't reciprocate the relationship with her. Mind you, she's 13 years older than me. We have two opposite personalities. I have been there for every holiday/event and made sure she got thoughtful Christmas/birthday gifts and told her she could talk to me if she needed when she almost got divorced. She also said I never shared any of my wedding documents/research with her when I literally have documentation via Google of her edits on the documents. I told him I understand being over all this, but we can't give in and allow this behavior towards us because they will do it again as history has already repeated itself. I told him that although he is used to this from growing up, he doesn't deserve it, and I know it affects him. He has started almost justifying their behavior. I told him that I could possibly move past what his sister did, but not his mother calling me a curse word and disrespecting me. I told him I will not put up with this again. I will not be around people who get away with disrespecting me, and I will not let Emile have the privilege of being around future grandchildren if she believes it's justifiable to disrespect either of us. He said it would put a wedge between us if I chose not to be around his family, and I said it will put a wedge between us if he forces me to be around people who disrespect me without shame. He did call his mother and tell her to apologize to me. We are currently waiting for her response. What should I do? I won't waste my time and make myself uncomfortable to spare his family's pride. Maybe I am prideful myself? I think it's just self-preservation. I am done letting them make unnecessary comments and rude remarks about me. This is our marriage, and we're going to build our family on the morals and principles we value. Am I overreacting? Please give me advice.
Story 7.
Hey all, hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I wanted to commiserate over the silly little annoyances I had with my Emile yesterday, because individually they're no big deal, but the day drove me crazy and stained my first Mother's Day. The gift we gave Emile a bracelet with a gem that looked like my baby's birthstone. It wasn't real, but looked close enough. When she opened it, I said, I think it's baby's birthstone. Instead of saying thank you, she replied, well, you could have looked it up. I felt embarrassed that I had tried to select a thoughtful gift, but she took me as thoughtless. The blanket wore we went out to lunch as it was a warm day. Husband was waiting in line for food for a long while, so Emile and I were alone. It was about 70 degrees. I added a denim jacket to baby's outfit because we were outside. Emile asked if I had a blanket. I said, only a heavy winter one. She's okay. I was in a t-shirt and linen pants. Others around were wearing shorts. Emile took the stroller and angled it so the sun was on baby, saying, I'll make sure the sun is on her to keep her warm. A few minutes later, why don't you go get that blanket just for her legs? I said, because I don't want her to get sweaty and overheat. Emile's body language and tone were so anxious. She was genuinely concerned by baby was cold and uncomfortable. She again made a show of angling baby for the sun to be on her. I started to get anxiety about sunburn because we are of Irish descent, and her pediatrician made a big deal of how fair she is and how careful we need to be of sunburn. I remembered I had pants in the car and put them on her. Later, we took a stroll by a large body of water, and we added a weather guard to the stroller. Emile saw it and said, well, why didn't we think of that blanket earlier? I was taking baby out of her car seat and made no response, though she asked twice. After the second, I said, it's not a blanket, it's a weather guard, and we put it on for the wind. She said, well, still we could have used it. I didn't reply. Much later, I opened a handmade blanket gift in front of Emile. Husband said, hey, that's like the blanket in the trunk. Emile says, really? We could have used that earlier then. I ignored her again. Comments about appearance, Emile asks baby every time we see her when baby will grow some hair. In the past, she told baby she was going to put a wig on her. The repeat question has started to annoy me. Emile said baby looks like me, which sounds nice, but then says, I never noticed these huge bags under her eyes. She sounded concerned. I was curious and touched baby's eye socket bone, which is a bit prominent, and said, do you mean this? This is her eye socket bone, and she's always had that. She said, which you does she get that from? My husband joked that he should have responded, from you, Mom. Emile has previously been a typical sock boomer. My baby lost a sock, so I just ignored it and left the one on. Emile asked if she could remove it, and I said sure. She then goes, well, think of how you would feel. Wouldn't you feel weird to just have one sock? Seemed like a weird lecture. Measles, we live in a state with a very high vaccination rate, with no cases yet. Emile brings up measles every time we see her. It's funny because we almost had to force her to get Tdap. She says, well, you maybe can't keep her in a bubble, but what are you going to do about the other children that can't get vaccinated yet? I asked what she meant. Well, your best friend having a baby soon. You'll have to avoid her. I said, how would BF's baby get measles? The family is vaccinated and not even using daycare. She argued bringing up another infant BFCs. I pointed out the adults in that family, and literally everyone we see regularly are vaccinated. She kept arguing till it fizzled out. She had no issue being at the crowded restaurant earlier in the day. Just issue with my BF's soon-to-be-born baby. Miscellaneous baby was getting sleepy while husband was waiting for food. And Miles said, can you get the stroller so she can sleep in it? I said, I'm waiting for husband to get back so he can grab it for me. She said, oh, you don't know how to do it? Again, tone is everything. I didn't tell her, but I have mastitis and didn't want to fumble with it. I had no problem just holding my baby. When baby went in the bassinet stroller, Emile sends me to get a stuffed animal. I thought she wanted to play with her, so I grabbed a rattle. Again, following felt like a lecture. I don't want her to be bored. This is so she has something to do. Like we put her in there to sleep, and she has all the trees, leaves, traffic, and us playing with her. The whole day just felt like her bossing me around, telling me to do things to take care of my baby. I am 36 and have a degree in psychology. I read studies on child development and consume all media I can find about best practices. I'm not sure what energy I give off that she needs to tell me what to do. If this continues, I will ask my husband to say something.
Story 8.
Emile is pushy, overbearing, does not take no for an answer. She's nice enough when you are with her. She isn't directly mean or rude, so I don't really ever have an issue with her that way. But she did try to make DH and I move into a house. She needs us there with her every holiday, not with my family, and is just generally controlling. Usually a no turns into a negotiation, and one holiday that DH and I were spending alone at home, she just spent the entire day calling, how about you just come for an hour? How about just dinner? It was a long, exhausting day, and DH only got her back off when he said she had genuinely been calling for 12 hours straight and ruined her own holiday by harassing us on the phone all day instead of spending it with everyone who was with her. DH has a sister and a brother. Sister is the favorite, and her husband seems to have no problem with Emile. At most, Emile told me once that he doesn't like to help out unless it benefits him, which was a random little dig, but that was that. Otherwise, there seems to never be any friction there. They also have a new baby under a year, so Emile has been helping out a lot there, and so I can only assume sister/her husband has no issue with that, lol. Brother has been single for the past 10 years, and in the fall got a new girlfriend. They are moving quickly, buying a house. This is where Emile wanted DH and I to move in with them in a basement apartment. But this new girlfriend seems to love Emile. I expected her to be shocked and put off by how overbearing Emile is, but she just posted a Happy Mother's Day to Emile. Thank you for raising such a good son. She also posted that she doesn't like Mother's Day because she is in C with both parents. DH called Emile yesterday, and Emile actually said that the brother was coming to see them with a girlfriend, and she was surprised/hadn't invited him. She said that brother is coming for visits almost every weekend now, and she was confused. DH and I were both surprised to hear this, because he always seemed the most removed from the family. He always would offer to drive, because he would come and go the fastest, which to me gave the impression he didn't want to be there, and DH would joke similarly, saying if he drives, he can leave whenever he wants. He would always jump to clear the dishes from dinner, and again, DH said because it was so he could get things moving and leave. Now I'm starting to wonder if it really is me who is the problem. Emile gave a real guilt-tripping, OMG, I just seem to be upsetting you both so much lately that I thought was stupid, but like, is it me? I thought that Esile's husband never had an issue because she's the youngest and the only girl, the favorite, so MIL would never have an issue with him. But why does the new girlfriend like her so much? Has she not realized yet? Is it because MIL and her boyfriend just bought her a house, so she's just shutting up? She is in C with her own parents, so is she maybe just appreciating this for now? New girlfriend also posted a video about building wealth with your spouse, and I hate to sound like such an ass, but the video / her posting it sounds so stupid. Of course you are building wealth with your spouse, and his mommy just bought you a house within less than a year of dating each other. On the other hand, I know it is not just me who is the problem, because I post on here and in real life people will react saying WTF to these sort of situations or issues with MIL. That has always been validating. So WTF is it that the other spouses-in-law have no problem with her? It seems to be exclusively me. Why was I the unreasonable one for not wanting to move into a basement apartment with brother / his spouse? DH actually said yesterday to not worry about that situation anymore because it won't be brought up again. And that almost hurts more. DH just threw me under the bus, told MIL to leave it because of all of my reasons why I didn't want to move. But I said to him, I know that one day, eventually, I will end up telling MIL the entire situation, tell her that it was overbearing and unreasonable, that it was a gigantic life decision that she was making for us. DH and his brother hadn't even discussed it with each other. Anyways, I'm just feeling extra insane right now. Are the other in-laws just shutting up and letting her steamroll? Why am I the only one who seems to see it this way? DH and I have been together the longest out of all the other siblings / their partners. Is it just because I have been around the longest to see all of this? Did everybody else just shut up and accept her money to get them a house? Am I just a rude person fighting back the way I've been all this time? I thought it was generally accepted these days that stuff like random drop-in visits were socially unacceptable. If you say no to plans, that means no versus her showing up anyways. I know you said no, but I was in the area anyways, hee. I'm in the parking lot, are you home? Why am I the crazy one for not liking this sort of dynamic? And then she acts like we are so unreasonable. OMG, I just seem to upset you so much, like, yes? Of course you are upsetting me by doing this. I was in the hospital with failing organs earlier in the year, in full isolation. We told her she couldn't come visit, and she came anyways, and then spent the entire visit telling me how and why I should be looking for a new job. Like, I feel like I am losing my damn mind right now after seeing the new girlfriend post about how much she loves this woman and appreciates her so much, calling the brother her spouse, posting about being successful in wealth. That sounds straight out of MIL's mouth. My friend straight up said the new girlfriend is probably just locking in and taking advantage of their wealth, which doesn't entirely sound unreasonable. But yeah, more than anything, I just feel insane between MIL's latest accusations that she can't say or do anything without upsetting us, when I have been thinking that she was being unreasonable for the most part, and now wondering if it's me instead. Was I really such an asshole for not wanting to move homes? Live in a basement apartment with my brother-in-law and a new girlfriend I barely know? Are surprise drop-ins okay? Is it fine for people to show up, even if we've told them no? DH has said I have made him feel like he can't have a relationship with his mother. Has it really been me all this time?
Story 9.
I genuinely am so shocked, sad, and angry with my in-laws. I'm sad how they treat DH, but honestly, each message we receive from them makes me livid. For context, we've been together for 5 years and both 30. We live with my parents at the MO. While we're between places, they give us loads of space, no requirement to spend time with them, and yet are interested in our lives. Boundaries put in place are respected. DH has openly said he's jealous he doesn't have a family like mine. It broke my heart. My in-laws, on the other hand, are the complete opposite. All the siblings are enmeshed with MIL. FIL is the most passive person I've ever met, and neither of us really have a strong relationship with him. DH moved away from them as early as he could and has never moved back. He has never told them the real reason he moved away. MIL is the absolute worst. She's controlling, emotionally immature, and manipulative. If she doesn't get what she wants, she has a tantrum and lashes out verbally. She priorities her dad above her family, husband, kids, and expects the same from her children. It's all about respect your elders. SL has followed suit. She lives 2 houses down from her mom and sees her most evenings in the week after work. She's married, but spends more time with mom than husband. MIL hates SIL's husband. He's not a great person and fair enough, but she hates him. She's verbally abusive to him, even when he's not around. She's especially bad when she's been drinking. SIL never supports him. MIL adores her kids. She'd much rather they spend time with her than move away and be individuals. If we have plans outside of the family, she never asks about them. If we talk about them in front of her, she never asks a single question. It's like our lives don't exist if she isn't involved. It's so messed up. DH recently celebrated his 30th birthday because he wanted to see his friends and not family. And Mile didn't like it and thinks because she gave birth to him, it's her right to see him on his birthday. We're in the process of buying our first house. SGL has 2 kids. We recently came back from family event, and the 2 kids who were watched by 3 adults damaged his aunt's sofa, walls, floors, things like that. She has a nice house, but his family don't respect other people's houses. I get kids are kids, and I appreciate things happen, but there were other kids there of a similar age, and the parents took responsibility. They either didn't stay as long or they watched them all the time. I feel his family should be more proactive about things, e.g. feed kids in high chairs to avoid them spilling food on chairs, give them spill-friendly cups, etc. And if they can't do that, then only stay for a night or 2 max or leave early if the kids are too much. Because of all this, his aunt, who normally hosts big get-togethers, has decided she doesn't want to host any more family events. A similar thing has happened with dogs. His family's dogs scratched sofas, damaging the furnishings. They've attacked his aunt's dog several times in his own home, causing him bloody injuries, so she banned dogs. She doesn't give a reason. She just tells them no dogs, end of. His family don't understand this at all. They're either completely unaware of the damage the dogs have caused, or just make excuses for the dogs or kids, such as kids are kids. His aunt doesn't communicate and tell the reasons why. She just gives clear instructions, and I'm not sure if I agree with this approach. I'm struggling to deal with being around such a nightmare family, even though we live far away from them and only see a few messages on the chat. I feel like they're so different from my family and me, but also totally messed up in their line of thinking. I'm amazed DH has turned out the way he has. I'm genuinely scared if we have any children what's going to happen. I don't want them to be around his family at all. DH disagrees. I turned to DH recently and told him I can't carry on buying a house with him if he doesn't start standing up for us with his family. He agreed, and ever since the bubble surrounding his family has burst, he has stopped defending them and sees it the same way I do, which is a relief. He's in therapy now, and so I'm hoping that will help. He's in the process of setting boundaries, and as you can imagine, it's not gone well with his family. It's upsetting for everyone, and I'm starting to really see how mean they are. As it's DH's family, he doesn't dislike them as much as me. He can ignore his mom's abusive messages a lot easier than I can. Even since we've spoken up about the kids and the dogs, there's been so many abusive messages aimed at DH. SGL has also joined in. I basically am at a point where I can't be around these people. I see them maybe 7 times a year, but even that combined with the daily chat is too much. I basically act when I'm up there too. I just play the happy to see them, be sweet and lovely character no matter what's said. It's been, and always has been, for DH to speak up. In all of this, I feel like my emotions are so much bigger than DH. He is used to this behavior, and for him, this is normal, so he doesn't get as upset. He just feels disappointed and carries on. Whereas for me, this definitely is not normal, and they're the most uncaring family I've ever met. I think that's the hardest thing with all this.
That's it for today's creepy Reddit tales. Before we go, I just want to say a quick thanks to all of you for watching, liking, and sticking around. You guys keep this channel going, and I'll be back soon with more stories that'll make your skin crawl. Drop a comment if you've got your own spooky tale to share, and I'll see you in the next one.